first exit to Springfield. I'm here with Big Sis.
I forgot my name, man.
Marwa. She's going to tell us her 3 favorite episodes, and she's going to try and convince me why they're so good. A Desert Island discs for The Simpsons, if you will. So yeah, over to her.
Hello.
I'd like to ask the origin story. How'd you get into the show?
I imagine the same way most 90s kids did. It was on 6 o'clock. You know, you watched your kids' TV shows, and then after Newsround or Biker Grove or whatever finished, you switched to BBC Two. You had The Simpsons, and you had Fresh Prince, then you had Buffy.
The classic combo.
Yeah.
We're currently recording from what's much like an oven. Sweating away in the...
Yeah, I'm in the trunk of the car.
Don't call the police. This is the summer heat in the middle of Ramadan, which is optimal time to record. Sort of getting smoked out here in the back, but that's okay. I think there's a pleasant consequence of that BBC Two 1 episode a day at 6 p.m. Way of watching the show, in that the BBC are so behind in buying the new seasons that we were eternally watching the old seasons, which are the best.
Yeah.
So that's...
I'm a big fan of the Nothing After Season 10.
Yeah, which is great. So I think chronic underfunding of public services actually has some good
It's a real shame
effects.
now, because now it's on Channel 4. All they ever bring is Season 15, Season 17, Season
the worst
20.
ones.
Yeah, the stuff that no one wants to watch.
Cool. All right. So you're going to tell us your favorite episodes, but we're going to go backwards. We're going to count down 3 to 1. So to begin, tell us your third favorite Simpsons episode.
It was hard to pick just 3 and to put them in any order, because I think on any given day, the favorite episode changes, right?
Okay.
But I've tried to pick 3, but for me, I guess memorable, quotable.
Yeah.
Like I know we're not getting there yet, but I know my favorite isn't necessarily a critic favorite, but it's my favorite because of how quotable an episode it is. But number 3, I've gone for Cape Fear, which is the episode where they have to go under witness protection. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah. The Sideshow Bob is after them.
After them, yeah.
For like the 8th time.
Yep.
So they got it. Right, yeah, the Thompsons.
Yep.
A classic episode. It's a parody of Cape Fear. Yeah.
But without an E.
Oh right, yeah, they added an E at the end. I see. Yeah.
I mean, it's got all. It's for me, it's got all the best elements of the Sideshow Bob Simpsons combined, right?
It's
his intelligence combined with his gross incompetence.
exemplified.
Exemplified by the way he's repeatedly foiled by an 8-year-old kid, right? Yeah.
In the lodge, but in the small by the rakes.
Of course, yeah. His nemesis, the rake.
There's also many callbacks in the many seasons afterwards. My favourite scene in that episode is where they're being trained for the witness protection.
And Homer, that's everyone's scene. It's like, now when I press down on your toe...
When I say Mr. Thompson, you say hello.
Yeah.
I love it. Have you seen the film?
I haven't.
Okay, yeah. I think that's cool. I think that's the beauty of The Simpsons, in that you don't even need to have seen what they parodied to still find some humor in.
Yeah. I think it was great. It's the kind of show where you can watch it ad infinitum, because as your own experiences outside of the Simpsons grow, like the more you watch outside of Simpsons. So if I ever do get around to watching Cape Fear and I come back to watch The Simpsons, I'm sure there'll be a whole new world of jokes that maybe I didn't get the first time around that will add a whole other level. And that's good. It's like you said, you don't need to have seen what they're parodying to still laugh. But then when you've seen what they're parodying, or every time you watch something and you notice that parody, it's a show that never dies, right?
Yeah. I actually went and watched Gilbert and Sullivan play off the back of the episode. I went to watch. I don't even know what the show was called.
Is it good?
It was alright, but it was massively familiar because I'd seen that episode.
Yeah.
I think music is a big part of the show.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. Yeah.
What I love about Bob's character is that he's... I don't know. He's kind of endearing. Like he's every crime he commits and every time he gets caught, you kind of feel bad for him, because he doesn't seem like a kind of a desperate criminal. He kind of seems like a really kind of intelligent and refined. And it's
for sure.
It's more other people's stupidity that.
I think that's
he's
why
a very smart man.
I think that's why Kelsey Grammer works so well as the voice, because like from everything else you've seen him in, he's that smart, sophisticated guy who is a little incompetent. Like that's what he. And I think that's why he's nailed Bob, because Bob is clearly a very intelligent person, but he's, for whatever reason, just completely incompetent when it comes to revenging on that.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, there's a frustration, right? He sees Krusty, who's clearly less talented and less
Man, he's an
smart.
illiterate clown.
Getting more money and respect.
Yeah.
I share that frustration
And
every time I see
he's what,
people.
Harvard graduate? Or was he Princeton? He's a Yale. Is he a Yale?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bob is a Yale graduate.
Yeah.
This is what I love about the show. This theme that runs throughout it is that that all the villains are Yale graduates.
Yeah.
Burns and Sideshow Bob. And
Sideshow Bob's brother.
he was
Isn't,
Princeton.
Princeton.
Yeah. It was 4 years at clown college.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's what's great about the show, right? That in reality, all the writers are Harvard grads, and they've kind of slipped in this recurring joke that everyone who's bad is a Yale graduate. Yeah, that's cool. No, I think I take on board your argument. I think it's a fine episode. I think it's.
I mean, I just want to
three.
say, I mean, it's top 3 now because I had to pick 3. I mean, if you were to ask me again in a month's time,
Yeah.
I mean, it may still be in the list. A different one may have usurped it. Like I said, it's the kind of show where, depending on what's happening at the time, or what you've recently watched, or how quotable you found the episode, or what's recent in your memory, like your favourite episodes change, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
That was excellent mitigation. Don't worry, it's not set in stone. If you have another top 3 another time, we'll get you on. Okay, cool. Should we try number 2?
Yeah. Okay, so for number 2, I've gone for Marge versus the Monorail. I mean, earlier we spoke about great songs. Simpsons. I mean, that has one of the coolest songs. The Monorail song. So,
Beautiful.
Yeah. So it's a. I mean, again, if we're talking about guest voices as well. I mean, Phil Hartman.
Oh, Phil Hartman.
Who is, other than Kelsey Grammer, that recurring voice who always nails the character.
Did he do the monorail guy?
Yeah, the monorail scam artist. So I mean, he's,
So for the listeners who aren't familiar with Phil Hartman, what other voices does he do?
So he does Troy McClure.
Oh yeah.
And the lawyer whose name is currently
Lionel Hutz.
Yeah.
Attorney at law.
Yeah,
those are classic characters. I think we discussed this before. Those characters were retired after Mr. Hartman was murdered. Brutally. I think that's the one sole thing that killed The Simpsons was his death. That the show has kind of arguably gone downhill in the 20 years since. But sorry, it's so damn hot in here. We had to take
a little break. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I think hot weather and Ramadan is
it's a potent mixture.
I
mean, being in this tin can's not helping. It is what it is. So yeah, we're talking about Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman, and he does the voice for the guy, the monorail scammer.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So that episode is great. I
mean, as well, the celebrity guest Spock. Yeah. I mean,
others,
R.I.P. as well.
Yeah.
Nimoy,
But jeez.
I mean, it as well. I think for me, that episode really captured the nerdiness at the heart of The Simpsons. Like, I mean, there's one scene where he's sat next to a guy and he's talking about that they're filming the scenes on Star Trek, and the guy next to him clearly just wants to move to a different seat, right? I mean, that's every nerd's experience of talking about Star Trek.
Yeah. What else is great about the episode is that it introduces the wider universe of Springfield by these other towns, Ogdenville, New Haverbrook, and these peripheral towns that define Springfield, right? Because we don't know where Springfield is, right? It's not only defined by the characters in town that we see, but also in contrast to the other towns.
Of course. I mean, up until that point, we had capital city in Shelbyville to work from.
Right.
And I mean, that's every state has a capital city. But when you start introducing these other places, it really creates, like I said, this wider universe of other towns and other places that are in the same shared universe.
Yeah. It's cool. It makes them seem less like Hicks. Right, if when you see the Ogdenville lot.
Yeah, the rakes.
Yeah.
I mean, for me as well, it was really good reinforcing the characters behind the main I mean, there are extras in it, but for me, it really enforced what the Simpsons were like. Like, you have Homer who gets caught up in everything and again finds himself in a new job, which by the end of the episode he's lost. So, you know, monorail driver. You've got Bart, where he, you know, Bart and Homer have this relationship where it's very much they fight, they hate each other, but then they have bonding moments. And I think this episode's a good one where you see Bart proud of Homer and bonding with Homer when he's sat at the front with Homer, you know, on the monorail driving. There's Lisa. I think there's a scene which I think really for me summarizes Lisa, where the guy says to her, "I'd explain, but only you and I would understand, not even your teacher." And she's completely falls for it. And I think that for me summarizes Lisa's character in that she can be quite arrogant. And I think Marge's stick-to-itiveness is summarized quite well in this episode. For me, it's an episode that really gets to the heart of each character, right?
Yeah.
Particularly Marge, who, I mean, if anything, it's whilst it's not really a Marge-centric episode, it's the first time we really see Marge. Not the first time, I'm sure there are episodes beforehand, but it's an episode where we really see Marge's character in action.
Comes into her own.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of saves the day.
I mean, it's that mob attitude
Yeah.
that you get with the whole town that I think is also something I really like about this.
I think it's great to see May Quimby being corrupt as ever.
Yep. Stealing that $1 million.
The other cool thing is that there is a formula to many Simpsons episodes, right? There's and a popular theme is Homer gets a new job, and it was an example of that, right? He became the monorail driver. But you know, as formulaic as these episodes seem, each one is unique. Each one is,
of course,
a special journey into that world. Right? It never feels like,
for real.
They pick a job at random.
And it's interesting because he always throws himself into each job, and I think that adds to the uniqueness, is that it's almost immediately forgotten that he's ever had any other job other than, you know, safety inspector at the plant, and he really gets into it, you know.
I think really the thesis of The Simpsons is one of a Marx-like communism, in that they're saying any man can do any job.
But I think
that
it's
Homer, even with that, the right education is a nuclear safety inspector.
I mean, if
he can be a monorail driver, he can be this, he can be that, each and every day.
I mean, I'd like to argue that, because I feel like if you take the Grimes episode in comparison, I feel like it's more making the statement that America's the kind of place where an incompetent idiot can find success, whereas the hard-working, everyday man actually really struggles, right?
I see.
The Frank Grimes, who's had to work for everything in his life, whereas Homer eats lobster for dinner, has this mansion he lives in, his son owns a factory, you know, like...
Well, so this is it. I mean, this is...
He's been in space.
I think this is that episode is in support of that ideology. They're trying to say, look how ridiculous that is, that having some small advantage in life gives you all these great economic benefits and you have to work less hard. I think at their heart the Simpsons writers are...
As well as we discussed it briefly, it's also shown in I guess the juxtaposition between Krusty and Sideshow Bob, who's a man pushed to desperation. You know, he's committed these crimes because he's seeing someone who's, you know, who is an illiterate clown succeeding where he, you know, is a Yale graduate, hasn't. So, yeah.
I think, also, I mean, on the topic of Sideshow Bob, I think it touches on recidivism, committing crimes after being released from prison. The rehabilitation in prison doesn't work. The Sideshow Bob repeatedly commits crimes, despite how many sentences he serves and how often he's released.
So goes back and does the same thing again.
Yeah, I think so. It's an indictment of our judicial system, of our justice system.
I'd like to make a side note that's unrelated to The Simpsons right now. There's literally water dripping from your beard. That's how hot it is right now. It's the worst thing ever. What's going on there?
I suffer for my art.
Yeah.
It's kind of hot here. Don't worry, we're okay here. We're okay. No worries. This is all good. We can take a break in a moment if you get it too hot.
That's cool. Let's just bang this out whilst we're still alive, before we die from heat exhaustion.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was saying the final thing about the monorail episode is, it kind of gives us a window into small town America, right? Whether it's how the town hall system works and the corrupt mayor, or how the Hicks out in Ogdenville and so forth operate. As a British viewer, do you feel that this is a useful window into the US?
I mean, for sure. I think most people growing up at that time. I mean, our experiences of what America was came from these TV shows, right? From The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Being a black person came from Fresh Prince, right?
Yeah.
Being a vampire slayer came from this is what we were watching, this is what we were growing up with. And I guess whereas they were maybe more sci-fi or comedy, or one's looking at a black family and everyone's looking at a fictional situation, he had The Simpsons that was trying to represent the average blue collar working family in America. And I think for a lot of English people, I mean, that's the experience you get. And whilst it raises some, I guess, similarities that all families have. All families like to sit in front of the TV, middle child syndrome, whatever. I think it really raises some very America-specific issues, I guess, and I mean, everything about it is very American, right? From Krusty Burger down to the local Channel 6 team, like. We'd already have local television here, right? So that's kind of very much seeing someone who's a celebrity because they, present the local news channel. It's
Old Ken Brockman.
Yeah.
I hear that. Yeah, I'm sure we could talk at length on that, but I wonder if it's detrimental that there exists a stereotype of Americans being fat and lazy. If Homer Simpson has been a
that's what's good about The Simpsons, right? Because it's the whole town is there, so you don't just get the fat lazy worker. You get the Lisas, and you get the Barts, and you get the Marges, and you get the Mr. Smithers, and the Burns, and the Skinners, and everyone there is unique, and together it builds up this patchwork of a series of different characters. So whilst the focus is on this one lazy fat guy who's a bit stupid but is unsurprisingly successful, I think the point is that despite that, he has heart, right?
Yeah.
He's a likeable character. Yeah. You want him to win out at the end of the day. And I think that's a very positive message, right? That you should be able to succeed no matter what, right? As long as you want it, and as long as you... I mean, he doesn't work for it, so I'm not going to say as long as you work for it. But I mean, as long as you're optimistic and you're positive and you go out and try things, which is what he does. He goes out and tries things, right?
Yeah.
So... yeah,
it's inspirational.
Yeah, it's a great show, and I feel like it doesn't just show fat America. It does show. I mean, you have sensible, slim, hardworking, dedicated Marge, right? You have the neighbor. I mean, Flanders when he started out was a nice guy. He's obviously become a ridiculous stereotype more and more over time. But I mean, you have this good guy neighbor next door. You have other characters who are there as, I guess, to present alternative American representations. I mean, race may be one sticking point, but
I think the character of Apu has been problematic in the past. That's something we can talk at length.
I think as well, it's a comedy though. It has to come to a point where you acknowledge that it's a comedy. When it started out, times were different.
Right, yeah.
I mean, in this day and age, maybe it is problematic, but I think most people acknowledge that
the
show isn't realistic and these aren't.
Yeah, that's it. It's crazy how long it's been going, 30 years.
Yeah.
Not that you regard the last 20.
I mean, it's not I disregard them. I mean, I like most people, I've continued to watch the show. I just feel like, for me, the episodes I can watch endlessly, and the show at its best, I mean, is the show up to season 10. Sometimes I'll be nice and say up to season 15. But for me, I mean, the heart of the show was up until season 10.
All right. Cool. So, brings us on to our final one.
Okay,
Number one.
People are going to disagree with me. Like I've said, I mean, critics aren't as positive. They've always said the episode, maybe, in terms of story, wasn't as neatly wrapped up. And I think that's probably true. But for me, number one has to be Homer the Vigilante. Simply because of how quotable it is. I think my entire life, most of the Simpsons quotes I've ever given come largely from this episode. Endless stream of quotes. Yeah.
Tell us a little about the episode.
Okay,
what's it about?
So, there's a cat burglar loose in town. And Homer decides to capture the cat burglar. Hence Homer the Vigilante. So, in the end, the cat is caught by the very person who was trying to catch him. So, how ironic.
That's right, yeah, so Homer, he sets up the vigilante group and they go after this guy.
Yeah.
That's it's beautiful.
And I mean, guest starring Sam Neill as the voice of
Oh, was he the cat burglar?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So I mean, I read somewhere that he was a long-term fan and he was
Nice.
ecstatic to the episode. So, and you could, I mean, did
Yeah.
a spot on job as Malloy. So yeah.
It's that's amazing. Before we get into the episode, I was going to say on the topic of guest stars, I think they had a peak in the earlier seasons. You know, like even with the ones who didn't, like, you know, like MJ and Dustin Hoffman, who didn't credit themselves.
Was that really MJ though?
It was actually MJ. So it was the deal was he did it secretly, but I think Sony didn't want him to do it, so they couldn't credit him. But it was actually him. That's the crazy thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was a guy pretending to be him.
Oh,
right?
no. So it was actually him, but he couldn't say it was him. And Dustin Hoffman played Mr. Nordstrom.
Yeah. I think even if credited or not, I think everyone probably assumed it was Dustin Hoffman anyway, right?
Yeah. But yeah, no. So Samuel was the cat burglar.
Yeah. I mean, it's for me. It's again what it boils down to is just how quotable the episode is, and it's like I said, critics often, you know, nail it for as a story as a whole. Maybe it's not as neat as other episodes, but I think for me it's all the small individual scenes in it that make the episode for me, and I think that's why I don't mind too much that it's not as tightly wrapped as others.
There's some excellent quotables. There's one from Jimbo when they drop him from the vigilante group. He said, "I don't believe in nothing no more. I'm going to law school."
I think Jimbo, it's quite quotable in the episode. I mean, there's the early episode where he's like, "Can I join you?" And then Mo says something like,
the doorknobs.
Yeah. Can you swing a stack of knobs? Can I? Okay, you can join, but you got to provide your own, you know, here's a sack, but you got to provide your own knobs. Like, I mean, or the scene where they go around, just, you know, there's a scene where he has a loudspeaker he takes from bar, and the kids are just like, "Go back to your homes and places," and the kids
it's like beatboxing.
Yeah, it's Hammer. You know, like, or there's the scene where he, you know, goes to the studio to talk about the cat, and he says, you know, anyone can make up a statistic. 40% of all people do that. Like, I mean, it's or you know, this is not a call-in show. We've got our first caller, and I mean ever, because this is not a call-in show. Or, you know, this is where he's sat at the table and he's talking to himself, note to self, you know, we're going into other areas, world domination, and then Lisa turns around and says, "If you're the police who..." Like, I mean, it's a series of endless quotes in the episode, and there's a parody of that. It's like a 1950s film where we're all scrambling to get the money. Yeah. At the end, so I mean, it's classic Simpsons, right? It epitomizes everything the Simpsons used to be. You know? Yeah.
I think what I loved about it is the police featured in it heavily. I think Chief Wiggum and Lewin are like heavily underrated characters. I love how inept they are, and I think that episode kind of highlighted it perfectly.
That someone like Homer can do their job better than them. Yeah, of course. I think it's a trope that happens a lot. Actually, the police are inept. Homer takes over the job and does a better job.
The Beer Baron episode is
see. That's what I mean. Every time you're reminded of an episode, probably would have made my top 3.
All right, yeah. Well, this is it. This is the fluidity. There's 600 some to choose from.
So yeah, of course.
That's beautiful.
I mean, it's. I mean, again, I say this knowing that people probably disagree, but for me, just the level of quotability of this episode is.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll forward you the hate mail direct. Address hate mail at I'll stick the email in the show notes.
Yeah. In the references. I look forward to duking it out with people who disagree with my opinion. I mean, I'm open to having my mind changed. If you can convince me that there is a more quotable episode in The Simpsons, we'll go for it.
That's cool. I think I've watched that. That's probably the episode I've watched the most. It's not my favorite episode, but I've watched it the most because we had it. You know, we had like this old VHS with it on. I think I just watched it on loop. You know, the old days of VHS, they could record 90 minutes or whatever, right? Or 2 hours or I don't know, whatever. They stuck on 4 episodes for you.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm familiar with the episode, but it's a good episode.
I think it's.
I think the key to it, is that it involves the whole town. It's not a Marge centric episode or anyone's. You know, it's everyone. The whole town is there, and that's where the best episodes are.
Definitely.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, like I said, my opinions are fluid. This for me will always feature. If I had to give a list of top 5 episodes, it would always feature somewhere in top 5. I mean, I've gone for it as top 1 at the moment, but it's always going to be in my top 5. I mean, other episodes that potentially could make the list. The Beer Baron. I mean, Home of a Great. I'm going out to stalk.
Oh yeah,
and Carol.
The Stonemason episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, there's so much potential.
Cool. So, okay, so we're gonna do a bonus round because I think you did a great job on the first 3. You clearly know your stuff. Yeah. So, you know, if you had to name a 4th.
I mean, again, I've just mentioned 2 briefly, but I mean, another one that comes to mind for me is Itchy and Scratchy Land episode. I don't know if other people know that episode. I feel like it's a great. I mean, we've talked about town-based episodes with the Home Vigilante. I think this is a great family-based episode.
This is the one where they go to Itchy and Scratchy Land.
They go to Itchy and Scratchy Land, and nothing has ever gone wrong. You know, nothing can possibly go wrong, and this is the first thing that ever goes wrong.
Right. It's the Jurassic Park parody.
Jurassic Park parody with Itchy and Scratchy. I mean, it's a great episode. It's quotable, but I think earlier, if I'm compare it with the Vigilante episode, I mean this is a tightly wrapped story.
It's a neat little package.
In a neat little package, they go on holiday. You know, that they start taking photos. The wiring and the computers go wrong.
Yeah.
They go on a murderous rampage, and they're saved at the end of the day by cameras.
Yeah.
So
I think it's great. I think it hits another popular theme. I mean, we spoke about other themes like Home Against a Job, but this one is, you know, the movie parodies, and I think that's what Simpsons do great.
Movie parodies, but also Simpsons go on a holiday parody.
Oh yeah,
which happens a lot. You know, the Simpsons are going to Africa. The Simpsons are.
Well, they even joke about it, right?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
So it hits two of the big boxes.
Yeah, definitely.
It's I think what I like is.
I'm just gonna add this. I mean, other than the McBain movies, I think Itchy and Scratchy for me it's a great in-universe constant show, and it's like a standalone show in itself, right? And the fact that they've done a whole episode on it for me is really great, right?
Yeah, well, I think that's an excellent point. Yeah, so there's a joke at the end of this Itchy and Scratchy episode I never quite got. The one where, you know, the Roger Myers Sr. whatever, Jr. shows up on the island to thank them for defeating the robots, and he says, "Thank you. Here are 2 free tickets." And Homer says, "But there are 5 of us." And he goes, "These are 2 free tickets." I never got that. Did you ever get that?
I guess it's just here. You can have 2 for 3. We're not giving you any more than 2. I don't care how many of you there are.
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe.
I thought it was kind of like the kids, get away from the kids, maybe, or something. I don't know. Or
maybe. I don't know. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, right? Not all jokes are always.
I'll get them on.
Like I said, it's one of those shows you watch it maybe 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
That'll seem clear.
Cool. Yeah, I got a ton of jokes that I proudly got years later, but I'll save them for when they come up naturally. I won't nerd out now. Okay, so we're coming to the end now, and I want to thank you for those 3 solid choices you gave. I think I've clearly met my match in terms of Simpsons-esque knowledge, so thanks once again. To round up, I'm just going to ask you some quick-fire questions from the notebook. I'm going to read these out of a Simpsons-branded moleskin notebook. I hope this proves my credentials.
Yeah, Homer's on the front.
Yep, putting a usual facial expression. I think Moleskine did a run of these for the 25th anniversary.
I've been trying to get one, but
you
won't reveal your secret of where you got it from. So,
I got this from the most obscure location. You can never know. Right, so I'm just going to ask you a few quick fire questions and
Google
answer.
will give me the answer, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, quick fire round.
All right, and just answer as quickly and honestly as possible. All right, favorite quote.
There's a Sideshow Bob quote when, you know, he becomes mayor and he fakes the election.
Oh yeah.
And there he's in court.
Oh yeah.
And they goad him into admitting his crime. And he's like, "The truth, you want the truth? You can't handle the truth. No truth handling you. I deride your truth handling abilities." It's a good episode and good quote. Yeah.
Excellent.
Solid quote. Yeah.
All right. Favorite song.
Oh, See My Vest. See my vest.
Beautiful.
See my vest, made from real gorilla chest.
Oh.
Etc. Etc.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite parody.
So, of what? Of this episode?
Yeah. Favorite or even a scene where they parodied something.
I mean, I just mentioned
Oh, yeah,
the one from that quote. That's from A Few Good Men. It doesn't really
Jack
matter.
Nicholson. Cool. Favorite season?
4 or 5.
Okay.
I'm
If
I had to choose 4.
Okay. Finally, favorite character?
I mean, I'm gonna go for one outside of the Simpsons family because I feel like inside the Simpsons family is gonna be about Homer.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna veer to a side character here and say Skinner.
Oh, he's the most underrated character. He's the best.
He's a great character. I feel like he's just hapless. He's brilliant.
Cool. Hey, thank you. I want to thank you for coming on. That was super insightful.
Yeah,